You're breathtaking.
Actors who were selected for a role described as ugly. How did that part feel to play? Ha! My mother had a casting call that specifically told her to just roll out of bed and not wear makeup. She is in position in a bar room and the scene begins. It's a detective noir theme with the protagonist actively narrating his actions via sides. He walks in. I'm in a room full of unattractive women. She shouldn't feel too bad. Hollywood ugly is like a 7. Oh, my. I was the ugly duckling in my high school's production of Shrek the Musical. I was mostly concerned with perfecting my waddle, my man. I got a role once for being ugly and obese. I was okay with it. I know what I am, and the paycheck certainly salved any sad feelings I might have had. Bro, as a bartender who looks like everyone's chubby bearded cousin, I feel ya. I had spent a couple of months trying to get a talent agency to work with me, and was excited to finally get signed up. After a month of anxiously checking my emails, I decided to call them. It's hard to get a booking without a professional headshot. I recommend creating a more appealing portfolio. Sure, good advice, I thought. Not a knock on my appearance at all. So I booked a shoot and uploaded my headshots a week later. My excitement when I received a casting call was impossible to contain. My agent said I had been picked by the director himself to replace a role at short notice, and would I be available for a 16-hour shoot tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. Hell yes, I was. I just asked for the location and wardrobe, to which I was told just turn up and it will all be provided. The scene details would be emailed to me immediately. I raced to my laptop and opened the attachment. Underworld resident, dead, face down in a field. That was it. The lead actor stepped over me 12 times to get the take right. It had rained the night before, and my face was numb from the Vancouver fall morning. No one saw me, because the hood of my costume covered my face. I smiled the whole time. It was my first ever role. Great story, emotional roller coaster, redemption in the end. Love it. Maybe you have a nice ass. I do some acting here in Los Angeles, usually garbage man, or mechanic, or hardware store guy. I get calls for diabetes medication commercials. That's kind of depressing. Other than that, I don't mind. We all have a type, and I get to work with people who I have idolized my whole life sometimes. The thrill of being on a movie or TV set far overcomes any self-conscious feelings I might have because I look like a shabby nobody. And when I die, my kids will be able to see me on Netflix or wherever, doing something I really loved. I wish I got to do it a lot more often, but I'm grateful for everything that has come my way because of how I look. My wife is super cute, and she doesn't mind how I look. So that's really all that matters to me at the end of the day. That's completely adorable. I hope to meet someone like that one day. Took a role as the comedy relief / homely sister for a shitty play where I was the butt of most of the jokes. It kind of killed my self-esteem during rehearsals, especially since the girl playing my supposedly Hollywood starlet-esque sister liked to brag about being the center of attention and getting a bunch of solos. But I put work into the role nonetheless and tried to have fun with it as best I could. When it came time to actually perform on stage, I got the most laughs and the most praise after each showing, while my sister awkwardly stood off to the side. In the end, it didn't feel so bad after all. I mean, Danny DeVito is one of the most loved actors out there. You don't have to be hot to be amazing. That's really nice and inspiring. You just made my night. I wasn't assigned an ugly role, but I was told that I looked snarky. The director and producer both told me, at a first glance, you look like a major dick. I wasn't exactly flattered by this, but it helped me land my first acting gig. So I don't know, resting dick face. I do background / extras type acting, and despite being late 30s, average everything woman, I get more work than a hot college girl because I look more like the average diner customer, mom in a grocery store, wife of older biker gang member at a wedding, weathered bartender, etc. that most movies and TV shows need. I don't mind in the least. Sure, I'm not sharing any on-screen kisses with whatever A-list actor, but guess what? I got to meet the man that's cool as frick to me. Sounds like you are in a nice little niche. Good for you. There's ugly, and then there's Hollywood ugly. Hollywood ugly is an Oklahoma 9. Those makeover movie stories where the girl character gets her hair styled and she removes her glasses. Had a friend who played Beast in Beauty and the Beast in high school, and there was a kissing scene at the end that involved Beast and Belle. But since my friend, Beast, was butt-ass ugly, the actress playing Belle didn't want to kiss him, so they got a different actor to do the kissing scene as the post-Beast Prince and LeMayo. My friend was so freaking pissed and insulted. He had the Beast costume on the whole show, so no one saw him, they only saw the transformed prince. Other actor, who kisses Belle in the end. I had to play Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast, and as soon as I walked into audition, one of the teachers said loud enough to hear, "Oh, so Cogsworth needs to be short and fat," and everyone in the room stared at me. This is freaking brutal. And this is why you don't do kissing scenes in high school. Only drama can come from it. It seems like the adult running the show should only be giving 2 options here. Act and kiss the actor who has the role. Don't kiss at all. Am I understanding correctly that she said to the drama teacher, I don't want to kiss that guy, can I kiss this person instead? And the teacher then helped her set up an on-stage makeup sesh? LOL. I know a guy who got the part in a major motion picture that was described as albino-looking and bred kid. It launched his career. Edit. Nobody actually guessed it yet. Was it Billy Redden from Deliverance? The dude was ripping on that banjo. There's a scene in Home Alone where Kevin Weave set a picture of his brother's ugly girlfriend. The producers decided not to insult some young girl by putting her into that role just to be laughed at, and instead the art director had a son who was more than willing to put on an ugly girl look. Had a buddy who was an aspiring actor. He would fall in the Steve Buscemi realm of ugly/odd looking. He knew exactly what kind of roles he would be chosen for and purposely kept his hair and beard in an unkempt manner. My friend was an aspiring actor and made a career of mostly playing scumbags for 2 decades. He's a big bald white dude with a beard. So if you needed a big scary dude, he was your guy. Had a handful of small speaking roles, but most of his parts were things like Outlaw Biker Number 2, Bodyguard Number 1, Skinhead Guard, Scary Jailhouse Rapist, etc., plus plenty of extra and background parts. He's been in a bunch of movies, commercials, and TV shows, some credited and some not credited, also gotten killed on screen a few times. One of the nicest dudes I know, so him playing so many scumbags is hilarious to us, especially hilarious since he's a teacher now. Not me, but was in an Uber once with an actor who told me he was always typecast as a shitty guy, either like a domestic abuser, serial killer, psychopath, or crackhead. I asked if it affected him psychologically and he said no, but it pissed his mom off that her beautiful baby boy was a dirtbag to the rest of the world, LOL. A buddy of mine was told he couldn't get a good guy part because he wasn't handsome. He's very plain looking. It messed him up a bit, but he rebounded now, does props for shows like The Walking Dead, was even one of the walkers. He seems legitimately happy now. The pain came when he was cast as a walker and only needed 5 minutes in makeup to look realistic. There was that one actress, Lucy Punch, who is not ugly in the least, who has made a career of playing the evil stepsister in every Cinderella type movie she possibly can, because she loves playing that role so much, even if it's supposed to be an ugly role. I really don't think actors care. Lucy Punch. Loved her character in Hot Fuzz. God rest her. That laugh is perfectly annoying. I had never amounted to anything in my life, so when the time came I knew that I was born for this moment. I wanted Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island ugly, not Cornelius on the Planet of the Apes ugly. TV ugly, not ugly ugly. It wasn't ugly per se, but I showed up thinking I was an extra wandering through a fertility clinic. Put extra work into my makeup and hair because you never know. And there was a slight scene switch. I was tapped to play a woman giving birth. So the first thing the crew did was mess up my hair and make it look like my makeup was running. I had lived a few lines during the 2 hours it took to capture my 25 seconds on screen, but I got in the credits. Is there any type of career importance for getting into the credits? A while back, there was some griping that Renee Z wasn't chubby enough to play the lead role in Bridget Jones' Diary, but I couldn't imagine anyone else in that role either. Edit. Even having gained weight for the role, fans of the book were still saying she didn't look the part. I remember hearing something a long time ago about the second Bridget Jones movie almost not being made because Renee Zellweger didn't want to gain the weight again. She was turning down the money she was being offered, too. Well, her contract ended up being rewritten to say that she was being given a ton of money. It also would to include personal training after production of the second movie wrapped so she wouldn't be stuck with excess weight again. Most actors really won't give a shit as long as their name is in the credits and they get a check. A select few will be insulted, but the acting scene is so incredibly competitive. If you were an up-and-coming actor and had the choice of being a co-star in a major movie where you had to play someone who was ugly, or being in a much smaller, lesser heard of film, almost any actor would put their ego aside and pick the first option. Paycheck, passion project, studio mandate, repeat. Peter Dinklage got the role as Tyrion, who was supposed to be pretty damn ugly. He nailed the role and no one even remembered he was supposed to be pretty grotesque. No one even remembered he was supposed to be pretty grotesque. I remember a lot of the book fans being pretty vocal that he wasn't true enough to character, especially after his facial scar. In the book, it took off his nose and disfigured him even more. In the show, it was just a cool battle scar. I mean, I'll take it if I get the money. I'm an actor, but I wouldn't say an ugly one, just average. Casting calls are hilarious with the ways they describe female characters. There's usually a height requirement with the otherworldly beautiful woman roles, and I'm 5'2", so that's out the window anyway. Movie roles are usually more of that, but I get a lot of commercial work where I respond to casting calls like pretty, but not a model. Still kind of bums me out, but I know where I'll be cast and I want the paycheck. I still work consistently, so I guess it's not so bad. But just once I wish I could get a call back for the unattainable goddess role. It won't say pretty, but not a model on the paycheck. A director asked me a few months before holding auditions for his play if I would stop trimming my beard and cutting my hair. He cautioned that it didn't mean I was cast, but he'd simply like me to keep it in mind. Obviously, I went full natural. I didn't want to tell anyone I'd been asked to do it in case I wasn't cast. As things started looking wild, friends kept begging me to clean myself up. I'm not ridiculously good looking, but I'm alright looking and youthful when clean shaven, and I could feel people begin to treat me differently. I'm gay and, my sex life suffered. It became very isolating to feel that sort of superficial distance for the first time. I was only in my early 20s. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. It started to shake my confidence, but I was committed to the journey. I eventually was cast in the play as a homeless alcoholic. My character entered the play at the top of the second act, got drunk, fabricated colorfully long-winded stories, and remained on stage uninterrupted until the curtain. I lived and breathed that role, and I was completely humbled by the praise I received for my work. It changed my life. My friend group changed. My tastes changed. My identity shifted. It altered how I perceived myself. When you get into the world of acting, you're told certain things about yourself by people trying to help. They might sound insulting, but you shouldn't take them that way. The goal is to get work. So you push certain aspects of yourself to be whatever it is that they want for the role that you're going for. It doesn't mean that's who you are. You aren't being told that you're ugly just because you were cast as an ugly person. You're actually just being told that you can play an ugly person. It might not sound like that big of a distinction, but it is. That's the world of acting, and if you can't handle people saying things about what they see when they look at you, then you probably shouldn't be in it. It's definitely not for the fragile. I second everyone else's thoughts about getting paid. If you get money, who the F cares? If you're not, though, especially if it's in an educational setting, it depends on the role. When I was in high school, I was one of the better performers. It got to be my senior year and I was selected to play the role of Jan in Grease, who was described to be awkward, fat, and kind of ugly in a geeky way. I was none of these things and I knew it. I was a little bothered by this at the time. Now, it's not such a big deal. Now, I'm a female, but there were a few times that I got to play an ugly male character. That is so much fun. I love that. I love having a fake beard and mustache and unibrows. Please subscribe if you liked the video. It really helps the channel to grow. See you again.